Macclesfield is a market town in Cheshire of the Cheshire East. The town became the world's biggest producer of silk and became a major silk manufacturing centre from the mid-18th century. It is also known for having the first ever Hovis bread maker's mill. Other landmarks include the town hall, the Riga Bianchi furniture shop, and AstraZeneca. Macclesfield Town was formed in 1874 and has played home games at the Moss Rose since 1891. They participated in the big leagues such as the Championship, League One and League Two before being relegated to the National League. Macclesfield Town was soon liquidated and expelled from the National League on the 16th of September 2020 due to debts of over £500,000. The assets of Macclesfield Town and the stadium were put up for sale on Rightmove, and in October 2020, the owner of Stockport Town, Robert Sappheiros, purchased both the assets and the stadium. Robert appointed ex-Manchester United footballer Robbie Savage as Director of Football. Macclesfield Town was put in the North West Counties Football League Premier Division for the 2021-22 season, which are in the 8th tier of the football pyramid. That season, Macclesfield won the league and were promoted to the Northern Premier League West Division.
Well, my reaction when the club were going through financial problems was I was pretty scared about the prospect of my club going bust.
When the club were going through financial problems in the first place, I did feel there was an air of inevitability about it, because there were rumours that Mr Al-Khadi was struggling for money.
What went through my mind when Macclesfield was getting liquidated was that I was incredibly sad and that I had no club left to support, and especially during COVID times, that meant I wouldn't have followed a club even on a streaming service. I felt proper bad for the employees and the players, because obviously they've got bills to pay.
What's going to happen next? A lot of the players were going to get clubs elsewhere, so I don't think that was really an issue. I think it's more the employees of the football club. What were they going to do? Where was their wages going to come? What job were they going to do? And it was just a shock that suddenly the doors were closed and Macclesfield Town didn't exist any longer. Yeah, Mr Al-Khadi, the owner of the football club, I think, in all honesty, I honestly believe he'd lost the plot. And I was just angry that he hadn't sold the club to somebody else when he had the opportunity to sell it to somebody else. And
I thought that he just wasn't a very good owner. He didn't really care about the football club that much. He didn't really put any funding into it. COVID had a massive impact. I mean, some of the clubs like Bury and Bolton were obviously struggling beforehand, but then Southend really started to struggle along with Mac. Southend almost went bust and were relegated from the Football League after over a century inside it.
The COVID situation, I honestly feel that COVID wasn't actually to the detriment of the football club, because football clubs, in line with other businesses, received funding help to enable them to get through the period 2020-21 season. I think it was the problems before COVID that caused the problems. I don't think COVID affected us a great deal, to be quite honest. Yeah, when Robbie Savage and Rob Smethurst came on board, and he said to me he was going to get in touch with me, and Robbie rang me about a week before the announcement, or maybe 2 weeks before the announcement. I had a meeting with Rob and Robbie, and I thought it was fantastic that somebody in a high-profile position was going to come into the football club and help the club move forward.
I felt so good when Robbie Savage and Rob Smethurst came in. I just felt incredibly exhilarated, and the town is getting back on its feet and getting back on the map.
Since the club were reborn, the biggest surprise, I think, has been the number of supporters that come through the gates every week. The attendances in the North West Counties League and the Northern Premier League Western Division, amazing attendances, over 3,000 average.
What has really surprised me is that the amount of changes that have been made, like the new bar and the new gym.
Yeah, will we get a third promotion this season? Well, I think it's going to be by the playoffs if it is. We are limping towards the playoffs.
Well, to be honest, we expected it to be a tough one in the NPL Premier, but I didn't think Macclesfield would be languishing down in 5th place. I thought we would have been at least in 2nd.
Yeah, so where do I think the club are now? I think we're in a reasonable position. We're a little bit short of players at this moment in time, and I think that's mainly because of injuries. This is non-league football, we have to remember. We've got decent gates, the club looks sustainable, we've got a great facility, and let's hope it continues.
I think the club's in a better financial situation than it has been, and I think the future is bright for all Siltman fans.
What would I have done if the club had, if there was no club to support? I definitely wouldn't have attached myself to another club. I've supported Macclesfield for 35 to 40 years. I also follow Manchester United, but I've got no desires to go and watch Manchester United. I would have probably been a journeyman supporter watching non-league football around the country.
I would have gone and supported Leek Town or Stockport County.
Ooh, what do I think the club should do to make the club better? It's a difficult question, because I think the club have done an awful lot. I would say more of the same. I think sometimes you need a businessman to run the football club and football men to run the football side of it.
I think we should get another new owner in and maybe do a stadium expansion, like put a roof on the leasing.com terrace.
How does it make me feel that how the club is now compared to what it was? Well, I loved watching Macclesfield Town I started watching the club in the 1980s, and I enjoyed the period 2005 to 2012 when we were struggling in the Football League. But it's also been a breath of fresh air coming to grounds like we come to now, and grounds like Bamber Bridge and Longridge and Barnoldswick. So I'm very happy with the progress we're making, and
incredibly better. We've got a financially sustainable club which is in profit. It has no debt, whereas with the old club, it was better with the tradition. It was more traditional, but the new one's a bit better in my opinion.